So this is one of the exhibits that I had on display at the Holmfirth Art Week. There's just been the 3rd to the 9th of July 2020. So of my two exhibits, this was the first one. So how this piece came about is that I got an artist called Aaron Hundle, who's of a Glossop way. He's he's a really good fantasy artist. He does a lot of stuff for the Warhammer and Steve Jackson, Ian Livingstone style things. And I wanted to do, that was the sort of style that I liked, because one of my favourite style of maps was from the Steve Jackson and Ian Livingstone books, the whole world of Warhammer, like Warlock of Fight at Mountain and Out of the Pit and the Fighting Fantasy books, because they were based on the Lord of the Rings style, but it was really popular through the 80s and early 90s, and they re-released a lot of them. So I was going to put everything in picture frames, but I wanted to have it a little bit more interactive, and I thought it would be cool to have a bit more interesting. But I don't think local Huddersfield people, I think when it comes to art, the Holmfirth Art Week attracts a certain clientele, and they seem to be less in the younger range and student range and more in the sort of middle-aged to older range. A lot of long-established artists with a certain style. So, I'm not too sure if it was best fitting for that, but because the project's about the local area, that's what I did anyway. So, this is the first drawing that Aaron started to do, and it was only, I think it was only A3. That's been cut down slightly because it didn't take up the whole paper. Now, he started drawing the map of the Huddersfield area that I wanted to include between the edge of the Pennines, like Meltham and Murfield, and from sort of like Brighouse to Cumberworth. So this is the area. Now, how this piece came about is that he started to draw the map for this size, and it was actually he thought that it was too small. There wasn't enough detail in it, but I think it's very, very pretty drawing. I think I'd have liked it if he'd carried on doing this. But what he did is he got to this stage of it. He started drawing here, that's where the M62 Three Nuns roundabout is there. And then this is the road that goes to the M62. He started drawing in here, which is sort of, that's where Asda is there, between the Three Nuns and Asda, with forests and hills. And then that's at the stage he drafted out the rest of the map, like that's the Warrior's Tomb and Castle Hill and Meltham Chap, and he'd got all the rivers in place. But at this stage, I sent him the map that I'd done, which I don't think I should have done that, really. I sent him the map that I'd done, and then he decided that he was going to do it bigger, but for around the same price. So then that's when he started to do a bigger map, which actually is this one. This one's not the original. This is the original sketch. This is a printout of his map, but it's on like card. I actually probably should have put this in the frame, but what happened is he did the bigger map with a lot of detail, but it's actually ended up being more of a copy of my map. He copied my style and he copied what I'd done, but just in a more neater, professional rendition. It was essentially my map drawn by a professional artist rather than just drawn by me, because I'm not an artist. I'm only an amateur artist. So, and I'm not even that. I don't even do much drawing. I'm mainly better on the computer. So I asked him, if I could still have the original drawing that he started after he'd finished. So that's how I ended up with this. Now, I really liked this picture frame, which is from India, because I thought my map would have looked nice in this, but my map is not the right proportions to fit in it properly. It sort of fits in if you have the gold borders on the top and bottom, but it looks better in this frame with just the greenery area. But to fit it in, you have to slightly stretch it out a bit. Or actually, the actual map that I've got is 1 by 2. So one of that distance twice that way. So you'll find that one distance that way only goes to about there on here. So it should have been to there. The greenery area of my map will fit in if this frame is wider, because it looks actually really nice in there. And I actually ended up I did do one to fit in it to see what it looked like, but I ended up giving that one to Alison Munro, the councillor, because I thought she should have one, because she's a councillor who's acting for our area, and I like the picture, and it's a nice frame, and I thought it would be a nice present as well. I actually got 2 of these frames, because you get 2 when you buy them from India. Now, what happened is, at the last minute, when I'd seen Aaron's drawing and it fit into this frame, and I don't particularly think that it looks amazing in this frame, but what I did think was a good idea is the meaning and interpretation, or one of the meanings and interpretation for this map, is that at Huddersfield, we've got this spread of urban development. We've already had like Hetman Dwight, Batley, Bradford, already heavily urbanised. So, particularly being at the edge of the Pennines, and with the ancient sites that we've got here, it is a Brigantes base, without a doubt, a prehistoric site, and the start of the river, and I wanted to put that interpretation. The issue of the petition and the local issues with all the people who are objecting to development is that we want to keep the countryside. So we're at a stage now where I think we've reached the pinnacle of urban development, and if we're going to save any countryside, we really want to take it seriously. So what you build, or what you draw, what you create now is going to really make a difference in the future. So that was the basis of the stage that Aaron had got to in this picture by chance. And when he sent me it, I thought that it was a nice twist on it, that this is not city and urban development, it's actually forest, but it kind of looks dark, as if it might be smog or urban development, because it's a darker area of the picture and all this is lighter. So I thought that it was a good reflection or counter-reflection to think about when you look at it. It's like, this is all greenery and trees and lush, beautiful forest.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
So, like, all forest, and then this is, are we at the stage now where are we going to continue building and development everywhere, so it's all, smog and factories and houses and urban, like Hetman Dwight and Batley, or can we actually increase on the trees and increase on the environmental side of it, and actually expand on the countryside and the greenery to instead of, which is actually recovering it. It's just that critical stage. But the fact that that's not urban development, and it's just kind of unfilled in and undrawn. So obviously the future is what you make it, sort of thing. What I actually thought is, I thought that it would be nice to have the actual map underneath. So the picture itself poses the question, what can we create, or what can we build, and what stage are we at? So then I made these cool little dangly things underneath, which were just actually gotten from the charity shop, little dangle things. And then it was quite easy at the exhibition to get the map out. And then I put all the petition information on this cool little dangly bit with these decorations on. This is like just some cool little decorations that I got for it. And then just a little easy fasten leather strap that I made. So then at the exhibition, so you're looking at this map here, of which is it kind of, the drawing itself really is posing the question, it's the it's an expression of the situation that we're in, although albeit probably a larger one because we've got a lot more urban development anyway, but we've also got, some countryside that needs saving. So then you open up the map, and then hopefully it's, got to a stage where this actually is, without any urban development. So this shows you the whole area in its beauty and natural environment without any building or development, in kind of a cool kind of Tolkien style. It's got some really, really nice details on it. So it is only a copy of my map, but it's by a professional artist. So I thought it was quite interesting to have the two together as one piece. Are we going to... I mean, it's a bit of a far-fetched dream maybe to completely recover the whole thing because, that's probably a bit over the top. But, the thing is, we've got to a stage now where it's difficult to recognise the whole area, and people are only really going onto the edge of the Pennines and Holmfirth and taking photos of the countryside because we've lost a lot of this side, and that this is actually one of the... Well, the local people are having trouble wanting to even recognise or acknowledge this area for being beautiful here because we've lost it and they don't understand or know it, and they might think that it might be impossible to recover it. So all they do is they end up taking more and more photographs of the Meltham and Holmfirth area in an effort to kind of, but that will eventually, if we carry on the path that we're going, that is going to end up going out there anyway. And some places are already suffering, like, at Meltham, around the Meltham Chap site, some farmers have already sold land and started building houses around that, which is, I think, it's a sacred site. So, I just kind of thought it was cool to see that. And then, what is going to be drawn, is it going to be an expansion of urban area, or is it going to be recovery of the natural land? So, that was the first exhibit, and maybe I could and should have just put that in a nice picture frame, but it was a bit of improvisation because of that sketch that Aaron had done. I wasn't expecting him to do that, and I might not have asked him for it, I don't think that he probably was going to bother sending me it because it was something that he started and kind of gave up on. So I decided to use that as the central part of the piece of the exhibit, and then actually these finales are made by Holmfirth Wood Turning Club. So they made these finales for me, so they're locally made, and they actually fit really, really, really nice. And we actually, some of the other scrolls aren't as well made as this. These were specially cut so the map slots into them and it's glued in and it's all really neat, and they work. They actually work really, really nice. So it's actually a really, really well made piece. I'm a bit upset that I didn't sell it at the art exhibition, but I did put quite a steep price on it because I thought he's a really good artist. And this is a really well made scroll. Some of the other ones, I actually wanted some of the other ones to look a little bit shabby chic, like they were old. This particular one was made to look like it was new, in good condition. Some of the other scrolls, I like sort of distressed and aged items and things. Like the book itself is not made neat like this, like the book of the exhibition. But I kind of wanted it to be like the sort of time bandits map, like the Randall map, a little bit distressed, When the thing is, the area is distressed anyway, The whole area of Huddersfield is distressed. It's like an old distressed map that's got interesting or noteworthy things on it, like our area has, but has, suffered a bit of, more than a bit of wear and tear. So our area almost is like the Time Bandits map. And the fact that on the John Speed maps, he's drawn a massive site at Robin Hood's grave when there is no massive, huge, steep-hilled site there, instead of drawing it at Dalton or Castle Hill. So he's put something at Hartshead that's not there. and that is an anomaly on a map. Other people have done anomalies on the map as well. There are other versions of the West Yorkshire map by different map makers who have done some other anomalies in our area as well. And then you get that whole West Riding, the letter D, ending up being over the Warriors Tomb, where they ended up doing a street called the letter D. So it's almost like one little area on a map has a strange anomaly on it, but it's very significant or important to do with history or heritage, maybe invaluable information. And that kind of reminds me of the Time Bandits map, when they've got these holes in time that are magical or mystical, and you can actually go through them and travel through time and go to different places, which is what happens in the Time Bandits. Randall steals a map from God, and then they go like on an adventure with the map. But obviously there's another interpretation for the holes in the map, which is just like, when maps get old, they wear and they get holes in them. But the area where the hole is, you can't see what's there. But that lends to the fact that you can't see what's there at Dalton or Castle Hill if somebody didn't draw it there, if they drew it somewhere else. So it's almost like it's moved from somewhere else, like the holes appear and then disappear between maps. Like when Alex Hogg draws a map, you've got this strange, very steep-sided Hill40 mound thing here, but then another map, it's moved somewhere else. So I kind of like that idea. I've always liked that film, anyway, The Time Bandits. But I do think that the Gilligan, the guy who did the film, probably had studied maps when they wrote the film and did the map making. Noticed certain things like anomalies on them. So that's basically the story of this piece here, with the scroll and that. And then the other piece, I'll probably do separate, which is it's a book with it's like a 3D sketchbook, but I carved the book out so you could put things in it, store things in it, and I did the maps on scrolls attached to it on the outside of it. So it's like a 3D mixed media piece, the other one. So